use the like raise your hand. Oh, there it is. Feel free to raise your hand, but also utilize the chat because like I said, Carrie will be monitoring it and will be able to answer any of those questions or bring anything to the forefront of the group if we need to as well. Okay, so we're going to utilize that chat at the beginning. I want to know what's something good that surprised you lately? What's something good? Give you some time to think. And when you have that, throw it in the chat. And Carrie, if you can tell us what people are saying, that'd be awesome. While y'all are thinking something good that surprised me lately. I love football. Let me tell you something, love it. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the playoffs. We will be playing Cincinnati on Sunday. Blessed, but that's not the happy part. I'm happy that we're in there. And it's a surprise because we was looking a little suspect. That's my happy thing. What are some other things? Good things that surprised you lately?
Oh, Linda has been sticking to that New Year's resolution. I love it. I never make one because I will lose it quickly. Rich is expecting their 18th grandchild.
Oh, congratulations.
Exciting. Congrats.
Wow. Oh, my parents have grand dogs. So it's a thing. They have grand animals. I'm like, I got a new pet. And they're like, of course you did. So, but 18 that's good. Congratulations. Any other things? Carrie, you want to share anything good that surprised you lately?
I was trying to think of one, but there's a couple more in the chat. It's snowing in Arkansas tonight. So the school district just called us snow day.
Yes, we love school day. Snow day.
Snow days are the best. I think they were so much better as a teacher too. Like snow days are great as kids. And as a teacher, a snow day is great.
I remember like watching the news and like wanting so bad for a school to close. I was like, is that a bad thing as a teacher? No, it's not. Yes, go ahead. Any other ones?
I don't see any. I'll have to think a little bit on mine. And then if it comes up to me, I'll definitely put it into the chat.
I love it. All right, let's get it grooving. So here's our quick agenda for today. Most of you might be familiar with assessments. I want to just do like a quick, here it is, here's what we are. We're going to do an immersion in the student experience, get to see it in action. I want to leave time for any questions, Q&A section, then we'll wrap up. So it's super quick and then I'll be like, dang, that went by fast, but it'll be worth it. Definitely want to make sure when we leave today, you understand what the new student experience will be like, because it is like, we're talking about night and day, what's that button do? Yep, we'll have some of those moments. But then also want to make sure we bring to the forefront the new functionalities. I'm a visual person, so I'm like, show me, but then I need you to summarize it for me so I can remember all the new features. So that'll be the two things we're covering today. So just quick overview of assessments. If you are not aware, or I'm sure most of you are aware, we are a practice and an assessment tool. So really here to empower teachers around like the targeted instruction and then monitoring and intervening with their students with the data. And so like Carrie mentioned it, I also utilize assessments in my classroom when I was a teacher. The part that I love the most, which I'll go here when we talk about how it works, is the quick analysis, having that there for me. So again, that process is, teacher assigns, the student does this assignment, and I get that instant feedback. It's the feedback part for me that makes me really happy. And then as a teacher, you get to analyze the results. So instead of spending so much time grading all the things, you get to analyze those results and be able to have like rich, deep discussion that's targeted around your students' needs. So that's a quick overview of assessments. Now, what we're all here for. Let's really get immersed in the student experience. So as you log in, your login's still the same. What I do want to do is show you just do a preview. Let me move you all to the side. A preview of in student view, but then we'll also go a little bit deeper to be able to touch and pick and move stuff around. But let's preview as a student. And I was really specific with picking these problems here because we got some new features like we talked about. So obviously, as you can see on this screen, it looks a lot different from what the original screen looked like. I see you shaking your head. Yes, Linda, very different. So you'll still have the questions on the side. The thing you notice, there's all the questions there for you. We have a couple of like different features as far as like get help. Students answer in the same way. Carrie did math for me earlier, so I have the answers already. Haha, I was prepared. For this one, obviously students can, we're checking, we can submit answer, then they get the feedback. That's same functionality. Here's something that I do like that's a little bit different. So students can click get help and show answer. So notice they have the answer here, and notice we don't have our score bar here, but also like they're not going to be impacted by like, or penalized for seeing or asking for a hint or a suggestion, but you still get to do that. And it's with multiple choice as well. So that's really cool.
I think that one's like a big change too, because prior, if your students were doing a multiple choice question, let's say today in the current student experience, there would be no show answer button until they've actually answered or attempted and made like an attempt. Now we're allowing them to, like, if they need a hint or they need that show answer before they make that attempt on a multiple choice, it's available to students.
Yes, thank you. This is probably one of my favorites. So y'all remember those ranking problems, right? We now have drag and drop it. So here we have an ordering problem. A couple things to note, it doesn't matter where the student clicks. So I can click any part of this, you can see how it still moves. Or if I click in this section, that's something to note for me, because I was one of those people that's like, do I have to click somewhere specifically? Nope. You can select from any section of this and move it along. Also note ranking on this side, it'll show you like where it is in that order, but instead of being ranking, they're now drag and drops. So let me go ahead and answer this question. And you just literally, you're picking up things, moving them, shifting them around, reordering. This is probably one of my favorite things. Not gonna lie, I got super excited, was acting a little geeky, and that's okay. Like, I can still be a math nerd. I'm for that. Yay, I did it. And then again, we still have the other functionalities, very similar. Being able to go back and forth between the problems, and again, the drag and drop features are probably my favorite, and the highlighting things that Carrie brought up a little bit earlier is like the multiple choice, being able to show answer. So I'm gonna, corrective feedback. It's incorrect. I could say get help, but I do know it's 75. Here's something that I want to bring to your attention. I want to highlight this here. So again, this is open response text box. You'll get that. Students can type in their answer or whatever they like. So let's just say I have a question or I've submitted my answer. I usually have my students say like submitted work or answered here. Something to note, if you are have their answer, if they submit their answer, but then they click back to another problem. So let's just say I went back to review or looked at something. When you come back to this question, whatever they have typed in and written will not be there. But don't be too upset. This is something that we know and it'll be fixed. Carrie, can you correct me if I'm wrong? In our next round will be in February. Is this when it will be fixed?
So it is actually on our timeline for the next release.
Okay.
So that is definitely going to be happening soon. It kind of is on the timeline. I don't know the exact date that it's released though, to tell you the truth.
So we are aware, and we just want to bring that to your attention. I know like that could be a thing for students. Sometimes since they can go back and forth, want to make sure they know like when you have an open response, if they do not actually submit the answer and then they click to a different problem, when they come back, their work won't be there. Okay. Well, I'll say submitted, moving on. Next problem. All right.
So before you actually submit this answer, I think I want to like highlight the going back part, because this is actually one very cool thing with the new student experience that I don't know if you realize when students are doing it now, let's say they did it today, if they tried to go back to a previous problem, they'd have to hover over it and then there would be like a pop-up of that problem. But like Charmaine can click on that previous problem right now.
Yes.
And you can see the full question. As well as notice the student got it correct the first time, but let's say they move on to the next problem and they're like, I actually need help. They can go back to the previous problem and click that get help button. And so when they do, it's going to actually show them a hint where they're like, okay, I didn't need a hint for this problem, but that hint actually might help me on the next problem. And it doesn't hurt, right, at all, where it's like not losing any of that percentage points or anything like that. It's just that free help because you already answered that question. But we always know sometimes the hints are like nice to like be like, oh yeah, that reminded me of this, to then help me on that next question.
Yes.
So I think that one's a cool feature.
Thank you for highlighting that, Carrie. All right, and then we're almost done here. All right, so the students will see end of, this is obviously a demo. I will definitely show you the difference in our reports, because another new feature, I'm not sure if you noticed on the side, we have different symbols. Instead of it being the score or the answer, we have new symbols of success. So on the reports, they'll be able to see that, which we will show you momentarily. All right. One thing I would love to note, or sorry, let me pause here. Is there any questions or anything coming up in the chat right now?
This is a question which I know you're going to show, but how will it look different for students when you give the assignment in student choice versus like linear order?
I just love when people are ready, because that's what we're going to do next. So definitely wanted to show you the difference, but definitely wanted to lean in and talk about student choice, because that's a little bit different. So we have already pre-assigned, we did a pre-assign for your demo, and we did this in student choice. So I'm going to log in as if I'm a student, and this one again is in student choice. Couple new features. So when your student first logs in, this will be the page that they see. Like obviously it says demo class, but it'll say what the assignment is, when it was assigned. And this new feature here is how much they've completed. So like their progress in progress here. So if students click out and come back, you'll be able to see a percentage, and I'll show you the difference too, so that you can see what I'm talking about. But again, same assignment, honestly, but we're going to do some student choice this time. So let's say I'm like, oh, hey, this isn't student choice. What would I like to do? I'm going to go ahead and I can click down any problem I'd like and start from there. So instead of it being in linear form, instead of having to answer a top problem and keep going to the next problem, I can pick and choose which problems I want to do. Something to note here that I love is that, so we have a part A, B, and C, correct? In this, you'll be able to still see all parts of the question that you need to answer that, instead of having to say like part A, go back, what's connected with part B. It has every single part of the question that a student needs. So you don't have to necessarily answer A, B, C order. You could do B, A, jump up to problem one, come back, look around.
This is such a big deal with like assigning in student choice, because even in our previous of assigning student choice, if you chose a multi-part problem, like with an A, B, or C, you'd have to answer A before you could do B, before you could do C. But it's so nice now that students could pick and choose, because sometimes B is a little easier than A.
Yes, it is. And again, still note though, this is still a thing. So like with the open response questions, if a student is typing in and they're like, oh, wait, let me go back, make sure they submit that answer. So that way, if they don't lose that, what they have written already. So that would be the one thing to just re-highlight there. But that will be fixed. But right now, that's just a thing. Did that answer the student question choice?
Yes, I think so. There was another one that came up that I definitely do want to highlight. It's, for example, if a teacher has already assigned something, will it show up in the new format? And the answer is yes. So let's say you have assigned something to be, students are already working on it. They come back to the assignment, it's going to show up for them in that new format.
Oh, let me just answer a few of these questions so I can show you the difference in for students to see their progress. So let's say we started, fire drill happened. I'm like, oh, okay, close my computer down, got to go, here's that. Okay, I click out of it. When I go back to this problem later, as I log in, Notice how it shows like completion, that some of my questions have been answered already. When I go back to start the assignment, it's noticed here that's telling me which ones I've already done. Kind of did it in linear form. Sorry, I could have clicked around, but I like that new progress thing where it can show you, and even like you as a teacher can see like, okay, how far done, how far along are students, but students are also able to see how much they might have to complete, which I think visually that's something that's really nice, a new added measure as well. Any other questions coming up, or any other like, ooh, what about this? We'll have time for question and answers too.
Yes, so the next one is a report, which I think you're about to show. And then the question is whether or not to reset a single problem in this release. And it is not going to be in this next, like the release happening tomorrow, but it is on our product timeline. So I know our product team is working on moving that forward. There's a lot of engineering building that our amazing engineers have to do on the back end to make those features that we love so much possible, or that we want so much possible. So that is coming up. But if you are a part of our Facebook group and getting our emails, like newsletter emails and things like that, we always try and like do a little sneak peek or a preview and try and when those features start to come out. So you'll be one of the first to know.
Yes. All right. So I just want to give you like high overview, like break down the things that we have here. A part of these slides, you will also be able to see the report. So I will make sure to highlight the report question as well. And then we'll be able, if any other questions come up, to talk about that. As far as the new experienced students still log in the same way. So that's not new. That's a good thing though. This was where I just wanted to again show like when students start an assignment, they'll have none have been completed yet, but we also have an in progress for assignment as well. So students will be able to see work that they've done, coming back to different things. So if there's an assignment that they need to finish, or if they're doing it later, or if there's a fire drill and then they have to come back to it, they'll be able to have that. A couple things to know in the student view. Again, they definitely still get the feedback. They'll be able to go back and forth within like previous problems in a couple of different ways. So you can do like click on the previous tab, or as I was doing, you could just click up into the other problems that have been completed already. If you're in student choice, then you can go back and forth throughout the different problems. And then just wanted to reiterate that get help button, that support is there, and it doesn't actually penalize students. So like Carrie had mentioned, if you wanted to go back, even though you answered a question already and get some hints and help there, it doesn't penalize, or, oh, you had the scoreboard, it doesn't change their score or anything on that end. We did talk about student choice. So in assigning, making sure if you're in student choice, that allows for students to be able to navigate any way they'd like, instead of just linear or random. And here is where we get to the report. So you'll have two different options. The symbols of success, which is our new symbol, which is one of our new features, is going to be your default. It's going to automatically default to symbols of success. So if you want to maintain your symbols of success and your score, your report card, a couple things to know, like here's what each symbol represents and what they mean. It might be beneficial to process that over with students, because there's like new colors. We have a couple of different symbols so that students can be aware of that. But then also the way that will look on a student report is that when a student sees that, they'll be able to see their problems and on the score. Instead of seeing the score, they would see like, oh, green check mark, that meant I got that one right, or the orange, or if they have like the different symbols there for a score, they will see those symbols, and then the hint usage is still the same. If, however, you want to use the other format of like scoring there, then it still looks very similar to what it did before. We have the problems, your score, the literal score, and class average is still there. And then you can do your hints and usage. So that will be the difference in the report. That's how the report will look on the student end, whether you use the symbols of success or if you stuck with the scoring. All right. Did you want to add anything, Carrie?
Yeah, I think that sort of answers the question of like, so if a student asks for a hint and they get it right, will they get that green check mark? And the answer is no, they'll get that orange check mark. But let's say usually it used to be where, like, let's say you ask for 2 hints, your score would be 33%. And that can be really hard for students to see. And so with the new feature, you can actually choose to set it to symbols of success only. So let's say they have to use those 2 hints. And then they get it right. They're going to see that orange check mark, which is what we train students to see, that like growth mindset, and it's all about formative assessment, like it's all about their learning and growing, versus like the score and the number, which I think is that huge change that helps students with that mindset, right? Like they're going to want to keep trying because they know the orange check mark isn't so bad, right? Versus if they start to see that progress card bar go down, they were like, oh, I just give up, I'm already at like 33%, right? Like, even though that wasn't necessarily a grade. So I think that's kind of the big change. And are you going to show like where we can set that or make that decision?
Oh, I can. Let me go back. Thank you. Look at you, Gary. Love it. So I should probably wait to my account. Do you think I should use my account, or I can still use this teacher's account?
Oh, I think you can use it, and it's there too. So when you assign, like where you can choose it from assigning, and where you can set it like permanently.
Okay. So in your settings, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's so tight.
I thank you. If you go to your where your name is here, and then you go to your settings specifically, under feature settings here, we have it at the bottom. So again, default is symbols of success. So if you would like for it to be symbols of success every time, you're actually set up and you're good to go. But if you would prefer to see scores and class average, you can change that. Note that that's something that you can change throughout as well. But if you're like, I want to keep it in this format for general purposes, you totally can do that. So that's the way to have it like across the board. Also, though, if you are assigning, let me go back here. There we go. If you are assigning something, I'll just go to, let me do like a find and assign. If you're, let's random assignment that we're going to assign. So if you're assigning this to your, if you are assigning this to your class, these things are still the same here. A couple of things to note, make sure you actually click on the assign, like what class you want to assign it to. And then on this same process where you would pick between, like, if you want linear, random, or student choice, you also have the option there. So if for some like reason you're like, yep, I want to keep default symbols of success, but a specific assignment or an exit ticket or a quiz or a test, whatever you're assigning specifically, you can choose that one to be in scores and class average. So that one specifically will be able to be in that format, and vice versa. So again, generic default is going to be symbols of success unless you change it in your settings. But in this process, when you assign something, you will always have the option to pick and choose if you want to have symbols of success or class average. Okay.
I like how you sneakily show that there's 2 pages. Mostly because that second one, we're going to start adding more features there and things like that. So make sure you're definitely following our newsletters and getting our emails in our Facebook teacher community so that you can get all that fun information. And I also like how you didn't highlight the new import sync. I was like, I love that feature. I don't know if will you scroll back so I can show it, because I don't know about you. I have to import sync sometimes, like a student leaves your Google Classroom, or you're starting a new semester or a new quarter, you just have to click that import sync button on an actual assignment. So you go pretend you're doing an assignment, click that import sync, and then it does that for your classes. However, there are 2 places for it now. It's going to remain there. So if you're used to using it there, go for it. But it's also going to be on your settings, like at the top. So when you exit out of the assign to class first, if at any page, you just click on that top button and hit import sync.
Yay.
So if you ever have to, like, if your student has been added to your Google Classroom and you need to click that, you can quickly click it and sync them so that they start getting those assignments. Same as if you're starting a new semester and you've got to bring in your new classes, you can hit that import sync.
Thank you for highlighting it. I love it. All right. I know we've been asking questions as we go, but I still want to give a few more minutes for it. Just want to pinpoint and like stamp those new functionalities. So regardless of what format you assign in, students are able to go back to previous problems. So when we were just previewing it in linear form, you can still click previous problem and go back, or click on the side. So that's new. The assignment report has two different options. You can either be in symbols of success, which is your default, or you can still choose to show the actual scores. We have updated accessibility colors. I like colors, yay, colors, but I'm sure y'all noted that with the different symbols of success, but we've also just updated our colors across the board. That show button appears even with multiple choice, specifically, show answer button. And then the get help is available as well. And then ranking problems are now drag and drop. So they haven't changed that question. It's just the format and structure of those. Those will be like those main, like, ooh, shebang, here's the new things with the student experience. So I do know that there were a couple of questions, like several questions that came in. I like to answer questions organically, but I did want to give anybody, if there's any specific questions or wonderings or what abouts that either surface, or if anybody would like to ask them now, feel free to do that. At this time, I'll be quiet. Okay. Also, no pressure though. All right. Feel free to type if you are, and I will keep us moving because I know want to honor people's time. I'm just wondering if there's anything that that you saw today that you're excited about, or did you think that your students will really be excited about? So give about 30 seconds, think about that. Like, what are you excited about? What do you think your students would be excited about? And throw some of those things in the chat, or feel free to come off mute and share. And Carrie can share those out with us as they come in.
Being able to use hints without that score going down.
Yes, I agree.
The drag and drop ranking questions.
Yes, yes.
Oh, being able to see like the questions as problem A or problem 1, part A, problem 1, part B, versus our insider codes. That are very confusing for students, but I think change definitely. It was a nice settlement.
I agree. I also like that. I was that kid that was like, is this question 4 or 5? Like, I don't understand. Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, awesome. So if more things come in, feel free to continue to share. Just want to do a wrap up. Again, we wanted to expose you all to the new student experience that you will be able to play around with tomorrow. And then just talked about those new like major hit functionalities. If you were like, I love this, I want to come back again. We do have another webinar coming up next month. We'll be talking about how to kick test anxiety to the curb. Boom. And we'll be looking at the standard report. So if that sounds something that you're interested in, definitely sign up here. I know Carrie can pop that in the chat for you. And as always, we have other resources that we would love for you all to be able to utilize. So if you go on our website and go to the help section, we have our user resources, any frequently asked questions. You'll also be able to see upcoming webinars as well. And again, we will be sending out the recording of this one. So if there's something that you were like, what did she say? What was that button again? You'll be able to get the PDF as well as the recording of this session. And definitely want to know what you think, how you feel, how you're feeling about it. So Carrie will also put the link to our survey in the chat. If you can give us about 30 seconds to a minute. I know we're over. Thanks for staying a little later. We got excited, so we were talking to fill out that survey. Let us know what you think and how this went. We love your feedback. We look at it, we apply it, and really try to do what we think is best for you.
Yeah, I just want to. As you're filling out that question, we're going to answer a couple more questions that are coming in the chat. the one question was like, can we assign parts of a problem instead of the whole problem? So like can we assign part B and just leave out part B and C and leave out part A? That is coming. It is on our product roadmap and it is coming. So it should be out this year. And then the other question was, will everyone see this tomorrow or just a select group of classrooms?
Everybody.
Everybody. When they sign in to an assignment tomorrow, we'll see this new experience.
Yes, that's like the Oprah Winfrey. You'll get to see it. You get to see it. We all get to see it. Everyone's going to be able to see it tomorrow. That's a good question. Yeah.
I went ahead and put the survey link in one more time. We really do appreciate your feedback, especially on this new session. We've never done a preview of what's being released session. So we'd love to know your thoughts about it. Should we keep this up? Do you enjoy it for our next couple of releases? So please let us know in your survey. And there's lots coming into the chat link of well done. People are excited about the features. There's a symbols of success and how it aligns with growth mindset excitement, which I think is huge. That like saves so much time with conversations with students of like, B3 is not a bad score.
Yes, I definitely agree. That was a feature that I am very happy about, being in like coaching and instructional components of that side. A lot of conversations will come up around just like anxiety and growth mindset and how to reinforce and support like those things. And I just feel like that really like nails it right there. So I'm happy that you all who will be utilizing it in your everyday experience in classroom see that and feel that as well. That means a lot. We're excited. Yay. Okay, well, if nothing else, we really appreciate you all staying on a little bit longer, hanging out with us a little longer, joining us in your time zone and really leaning in and asking questions and being a part of our time with us today. That's all we have for you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a good rest of your night and evening because it's still early in Hawaii, which I'm still jealous about. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at contact@assistments.com. And we'll definitely be here to answer any questions that you have. Have a good rest of your night, you all. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.